welcome to Anita Crochet. My name is Anita. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make this it's a crop sweater. I think that's what I should call it, but it can be worn as an off shoulder or cold shoulder. So first of all, the tools we are going to be working with is a tape measure. I'm going to be working with a 4.5mm hook and a pair of scissors. You'll need a darning needle to weave in your ends, and lastly I am going to be working with this chunky yarn. It's Robin 100% acrylic, and it's 100 grams of weight, so it is size 4 yarn. Okay, and it's very, very beautiful because it gave me a very good sort of like gauge for my sweater. It's a little thick, that's what I'm looking for. And also I am working with a textured stitch. It should be the bin stitch. So let's dive into it and see what magic this texture is going to give to our sweater. So now we are going to work 16 chains. So here into the second chain stitch from the hook, we work a single crochet, and we work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until we come to the end of the row. Once we are at the end of our row, we are going to be working the rib stitch because now we are trying to work the band for our sleeve. So we chain 1 and turn our work and work into the back loop of our single crochets, and work into the back loop of our single crochets right there. So in there we shall work a slip stitch. Just make sure you're not working this so tight because it will be hard for you to work the next row over this, and work a slip stitch into the back loop of the next single crochet stitch, just like that. And like that, and lastly in there. All right, so this is what we have. We chain 1 and turn our work into the back loop of the first stitch. In there we work a slip stitch and work a slip stitch into the next back loop of the next stitch, and we are going to do this for every stitch on this row. Okay, until we come to the end of our row. We are just working slip stitches into the back loops of. It may look like you are not going to get your work done very easily, but let me tell you, the beauty of seeing that something that took you so long come out so perfectly is exactly what crochet requires. So you just need the patience. And for every end of the row, you must make sure you worked 15 slip stitches because those are the stitches you must have for each row. So chain 1, turn your work, work a slip stitch into the back loop of the first stitch, and do this all the way for all the stitches on this row. So I'm just going to let you guys work this very same process throughout until you have a band that can actually fit the width of your wrist. Make sure you place it over your wrist and see that it can actually fit your wrist, because at the end of the day, if it can fit your wrist, then I know it can actually stretch out while getting through your fingers, like over your fingers, and fitting you perfectly. Then I'm going to get back and show you guys what to do next. So guys, this is my wrist width, and as you can see, it is 6 inches. Most of you keep telling me, Anita, please just give us the measurements in centimeters. It's about 15 centimeters, as you can see. So since it is going to be hard for us to bind this together for our very last row, this is what we are going to do. Into the back loop, we are going to chain 1, turn our work, and into the back loop we will work single crochets instead of the slip stitches we have been working. So this is just more like to get a gauge for how we can like attach our piece. But don't spoil the pattern, just make sure you are working this into the back loop of every stitch. So now here we go. So we shall turn this in out and join the two together. So I'll insert my hook into the stitch right there. And I'll pull through my yarn into the very first stitch on this side and the stitch on this side. I will work my single crochet and here I'm going to continue working one single crochet into both stitches. Okay, so there we go, and I'm going to do this for all the stitches, so let me meet you at the end. So once at the end of the row, we shall turn our work in out, and here I'm going to chain one and then work one single crochet into every stitch. Sorry, not into every stitch, but into every post. I'm just going to try and make sure that I have 24 stitches, but you can just work your stitches and make sure that they are just worth it, like they're not so many on the row, and also make sure it's an even number that you end up with. Like it should be an even number, a number divisible by 2, okay? Like 24, 36, 30, any number divisible by 2 is the number of stitches you must have around the top of your wrist, okay? So here we go. Work one single crochet into where you feel a stitch is deserving. Those are 2, 3, 10. So just do this for the stitches I have told you. It should be a number divisible by 2, and make sure that you have your stitches correctly placed, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Once you have that, then I'll show you what to do next. So once you have come to the end of your row, and this is me at the end of my row, I have 24 stitches and I am going to chain one. I won't turn my work. Instead, into this very first stitch, I will work a single crochet and then yarn over, work 2 double crochets together into the very same stitch, okay, and then work a chain. All right, now I'll skip the next stitch, and into the next stitch I'll work a single crochet, 2 double crochets together into this very same stitch, and then work a chain. Skip one, into the next stitch you work 1 single crochet, yarn over, 2 double crochets together, and then a chain. Once again, skip one, into the next stitch you work a single crochet, 2 double crochets together, and a chain one. So you are going to continue doing this for all the stitches you have around this row or your wrist until you come to the end of your row. Please make sure you're not working this tightly. Just be free enough, like not so much free, but at least free. So do this until you come to the end of your row. That, and now I am going, once you come to the end of your row, you will work a slip stitch into the chain one right there where you ended your row, okay? So this is how my work looks like. It may not make sense. Let me see how many beans I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So guys, from here you will chain one, turn your work into this very same gap or stitch, you work your single crochet, then work 2 double crochets together, then a chain. You will skip the 2 double crochets together and work into the chain one, the single crochet right there. So you work a single crochet and then work 2 double crochets together, chain 1, skip the 2 double crochets together stitch and work into the single crochet stitch. So in there you work a single crochet and then 2 double crochets together, then a chain. Okay, so we are alternating these stitches. One will look like this and the other will like look diagonal into that direction. So skip the 2 double crochets together and into the single crochet stitch you work a single crochet, 2 double crochets together and a chain 1. So this is going to go on for this stitch all the way around. Okay, just continue doing that all the way around until you get right here. I know the last stitch will be right here, and you'll work a slip stitch into the chain one that started the row to end your row. So once you have worked your chain one, you will get into the chain one that started the row and work a slip stitch. So that's how you end the row. And for the next row, you will chain one, turn your work into this very first stitch right there, the chain one you worked. You'll work a single crochet and then work 2 double crochets together and a chain 1. Okay, skip this stitch and into the next right there you work a single crochet, 2 double crochets together, and then a chain 1. So you are going to go on doing this for a total of 4 rows. Literally this is our 3rd row. Okay, so I'm going to let you work this row until the end and also work the next row, and I'm going to get back on the next row to show you guys how to now start working our increase. So guys, here I am with my 4th row complete, and now I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work into this very first stitch right there. I am going to work a single crochet. I'm going to work my first increase right here. So I'll work my single crochet, and in the very same stitch I'll work my 2 double crochets together, just like that. And now here I'll chain 1, and in this very same stitch again I will work a single crochet and then work 2 double crochets together. So this means I'm going to have 2 bins all in the very same stitch. Okay, so I'll move on to skip 1 stitch, and into the next I'll work my single crochet, 2 double crochets together and a chain 1. Okay, remember I have 12 bins. I'll call them bins because I'm working with a bin stitch. So I have 12 bins on every row I've been working. So that means to work an increase I'll need 1 on this side and 1 on this side. That means I'll have 6 bins on the front and 6 bins at the back. Okay, so that will imply that for every 5 bins I will have to work an increase into the 6th bin. All right, so this is my first increment right here on the side of my sleeve, and now I have so far worked 1 bin, and I have let me see, those are 2. I have 3 bins to go now, so I'm going to work my bins. Those are 3, and those are 4, and this is the 5th, and those are 5. So into the 6th here, that's why I'm going to work an increase so that all my increments are on the sides of my sleeve. Okay, so I will work a single crochet in there and then 2 double crochets together, just like that, and then chain 1. In the very same stitch once again I will work my 2nd bin, so I'll work a single crochet and then work 2 double crochets together into this very same stitch and then chain 1. Now I'm going to move on working my beans normally into the next stitches, just like we have been doing, and you will see that there's been an increment at the end of the row, so you will have to count your beans and see how many beans you have on this row, because they must be +2. That means we shall have 14 beans on this row. So yeah, right here I'm going to work a slip stitch into the chain one that started the row, so just find your way into it, just like that. Now I'll chain one and turn my work. Okay, you see that we have an increase, and this will be noticeable on this next row because we are not working an increase on the next row. So I always advise that once I work an increase on this row, I will work 2 normal rows before I work my next increase. So for this next row, I am going to just chain one, turn my work. Into this very first stitch, I will work my single crochet and 2 double crochets together, chain one, and just continue doing this stitch pattern the way it has to flow, okay, without making any increments. So you should end up with 14 beans, or whichever number of beans you had on the very first row when you started your work is what you should have +2, okay, because we just made an increase. So for the next 2 rows, I'm just going to be working this stitch pattern just like this until I get to the next row, okay, and that's where I'm going to meet you and show you what to do. So just work your 2 normal rows, just the very same stitch pattern, going around, coming here, working a slip stitch, and you know, just like that. But just to show you where we worked an increase and how to go about it, once here you'll skip this stitch pattern and find the single crochet which is visible, it's right there. So in there you work your single crochet and then your bean, okay, still you skip the stitch and find the single crochet which is right there, and then do the very same thing. So just do this until you come to the end of your row, and do the very same thing for the next row, and I'll meet you on the next row to work our second row of increase. So guys, I have my 2 rows complete, and this is how my work looks like so far, okay. And now to work my next increase, it's not going to be any different, so I'll chain one and turn my work. Into the very first stitch right there, I'll work a single crochet and then yarn over, work 2 double crochets together into the very first stitch, chain one. In this very same stitch, I will work again 1 single crochet, 2 double crochets together in the very same stitch. So I have 2 beans in there, and I'll go ahead and now work 6 beans before I work my next increase. On the previous increase, we worked 5 beans before the next increase, so this time we are working 6 beans before the next increase, okay. So this is 1, 2, and this is 3, this is 4, 5, and 6, okay. So that means into this next stitch right there, that's where I'm going to work an increase once again. So in there I will work a single crochet, 2 double crochets together, chain one, and once again a single crochet and 2 double crochets together in this very same stitch, and then chain one, okay. Then go ahead with how the stitch pattern has to flow until you come to the end of your row. Also, I'm just going to show you something I have rectified that I want you guys to also rectify so that we don't get that kind of gapping. So just watch until the end right here, the end of my row. That's why I'm going to show it to you so that we decrease the gapping. So once you get to the last pin, you will work a single crochet and then work 2 double crochets together, just like that. So not to have this kind of gapping that I've had here, you will have to just here you won't work a chain, okay, because when you work a chain it's going to create that gap. So you don't work a chain, instead you just cross over to the chain 1 or the single crochet that started the row and work your slip stitch, just like that. So you see that the gapping is actually really minimized. No, I didn't work, okay, right there, that's why I have to work. Yeah, so it's minimized. You see that I don't have this gapping in these rows here I have worked. I instead had it here where I was working my single crochet. So guys, you should rectify that. You can go back and rectify from all these stitches that we worked, or you can just continue just like I have and go on with your work, okay? So here I will chain 1 and turn my work. And because I have worked an increase on this row, I am going to work 2 normal rows. That means the next 2 rows are not going to have an increase, okay? I'm just going to be working the stitch pattern exactly how it has to flow, like 1 single crochet, 2 double crochets together in this very same stitch, and then chain 1, skip 1, do the very same thing all the way around, and do this for the next 2 rows. Then after that you will work an increase, okay? We are just going to keep repeating the series of working 1 row of an increase and then followed by 2 normal rows. That means that 2 normal rows won't be of an increase, okay? So you are going to keep doing this until you have a total of 4 increments, okay? Yes, you should have a total of 4 increments, all right? Then I'm going to meet you there. That means you are going to work 2 normal rows and then an increase, that will be the 3rd increase, and then 2 normal rows, then an increase, that will be the 4th increase, okay? So that's why I'll meet you and then tell you what to do. I'll just tell you because it's not any different from what we have been doing, so I'll just get back and tell you what to do next after the 4 increments, okay? So guys, this is how my work looks like after working 4 rows of an increment. Now this is, I've so far worked 2 rows after the 4th increment, because if I can check, this is my increment, okay? This was the 4th row of an increase, and after you work this 4th row of an increase, you are going to work 4 normal rows instead of 2 normal rows, okay? So far I've worked 2, I am going to add 2 more. So I just need you guys to work your 4 normal rows, okay? And I'm going to get back and explain to you why it is like that and how it is going to go on after that. So guys, after my 4th row of an increase, I have 4 normal rows, okay? 4 normal rows from here. I have this, 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 and that. So what I wanted to explain is, right now you can see that our sweater is really getting super wide, and we have to decrease the number of times we are making an increase. That's why for now we are now going to start working 1 row of an increase followed by 4 normal rows, because what we don't want is having a super huge arm. But if you're looking for something bulky, you can go for it totally all the way. Really do support that. And if you're working for a size large, you possibly can continue with 1 row of an increase and 2 normal rows, okay? But if you're working for a size medium or size small, this is what you have to do, okay? Now after you have 4 normal rows, you are going to work 1 row of an increase, then 4 normal rows. After that, again 1 row of an increase, okay? And there I will have you guys work 2 normal rows. please just get the sequence in which this is happening. Work 1 row of an increase right now, and then work 4 normal rows after that. After the 4 normal rows, you work 1 row of an increase, then 2 normal rows. And that's why I'm going to meet you, because the reason as to why now I'm saying 2 normal rows after that is because I'm going to have this kind of split. And we are around here, so we are just going to work those rows until here. Okay, that's why I want 2 normal rows before I can have this kind of split. Okay, so just do that, then I'll get back and show you what to do after you have worked all the rows I have told you. That means you are working about, let me see, so you are working 8 rows from here, and I'll just get back and count for you how many beans I have on my last row and how many beans you should have on the last row after those 8 rows, so that we can keep in connection if maybe any of you is really confused about what I'm trying to do. So guys, I just finished my work and I have 26 rows so far, but because I want to make them 28, I am going to add 2 normal rows from here. Okay, I have 26 rows after doing what I told you guys to do. So let me add 2 normal rows to make it 28 rows, because all I want is 28 rows before I can now go ahead and work the split. Okay, so I finished my 2 rows. I've finished my 2 rows and I have 28 rows in total. And on my last row I have 24 beans. Okay, like 1 2 3 4, just counting these beans. I have 24 of them on my last row. I don't know how many you have, but that's what I have. So now we are going to be working our split, and the split is also going to have an increment. That's why I wasn't working an increase. And here you will chain 1 and turn your work into this very first stitch. Okay, you work a single crochet, and we are going to work an increase, okay, and also a split. So we shall work our increment, because I now know you guys know how to do that. So once again, you work 2 beans into this stitch, and I'm going to let you guys continue working all the way around, because I want to work my second increase right here at the end. Okay, more like to start with an increase and end with an increase. So literally I'm going to let you guys work your beans the way they should be all the way around, and I'm going to meet you at the end of the row to show you how to work an increase at the end of the row. So here I am. So if not for the split, right now we should not have worked this chain 1. Instead we should have worked a slip stitch into this stitch. Okay, but because we want a split right here, we are going to work a chain. Okay, skip this and now get back into the very first stitch right there that started the row. Work your single crochet. Okay, and then work your bean just like you have to. Once again, because we want an increase, we have to have 2 beans into this stitch. So once again, you go in there, work a single crochet, and then work 2 double crochets together to work your bean stitch, and there you have it. So you work a chain. So clearly we have 4 beans into the very first stitch of the row. Okay, and this is how it looks like. You can see that the increase is enormous, but then we have to take that in. So to start the next row, since we have worked our chain 1, we are now going to turn our work. Okay, and into this chain 1 right there, we are going to work a single crochet and then work our bean, like 2 double crochets together, and skip 1 into the chain 1, into the single crochet. We work a single crochet and then work 2 double crochets together to work our bean, and then chain 1. You see that I am starting the row without having to have the slip stitch going on, so this is going to create that split we have been looking for. So once again, you skip 1, go on with your stitch and Just do that. Keep working your beans as you have been working them throughout the entire project, and you are going to keep doing this until you get back here, okay? And I'm just going to get back and show you how to end the row. I'm right here approaching the end of my row, and this is the increase we worked on the other row. So we shall work a chain and now work a single crochet into that stitch right there after you have skipped one. I just need you guys to learn how to end your row because now we have a split, so everything is going to change. Okay, and here I will work my bean stitch, and to end my row I am going to skip one and work a single crochet into the very last stitch right there. I hope I'm clear. Okay, now here you will chain one and turn your work. So clearly when ending the row, we don't work a bean stitch into the very last stitch. Instead, we just work a single crochet. And now to begin your next row, you are going to work a chain one, turn your work a single crochet, and then work a bean stitch into this very first stitch. Skip one and follow the pattern just how it goes, and work your bean stitches. I have 27 bean stitches on my row, so I'm going to work this row until I get right here close to the end. That's why I'm going to meet you once again and show you how to end your row so that you master this, because you are going to work the rest of the project on your own. I'm just going to show you how the sequence is going to be of the number of rows you must work after every increment. So I'm right here almost close to the end of my row, and here I am going to work my single crochet into the second last bean stitch right there, and I'll work, which I will call my last bean stitch. So I will work 2 double crochets together, chain one, and then work a single crochet, skip one and work a single crochet into the very last stitch, which was the single crochet that started the row right there. Okay, so I hope you guys now have learned that we do not end the row with a bean stitch. Instead, we end it with a single crochet. So you will chain one, turn your work a single crochet into this very first stitch, and then work your bean stitch just like that. Go on with how the bean stitch has to flow, and once you get here, you work your last bean, and into this very last stitch you work a single crochet. And now this is the sequence you have of how we are going to be working our increments for the next rows, because I'm not going to work with you. If you possibly can, just take a screenshot of this. I'm just leaving it here for a few more seconds so you guys can take a screenshot of this, and then just save it in your gallery and try to follow exactly what I have written here. It may not be very well written, but yeah. So right here we made our increase. Okay, so we are going to work 4 normal rows, and so far we have 1, 2, and now we are working the 3rd row. Then after that will be the 4th row. So you will work 4 normal rows and then work an increment. I think I should just work my 4 normal rows and just get back to you guys and show you how to work that increase on that row. But then after that, this is what you will follow after this increment, which I'm going to get back and show you how it should look like or how it should be worked. After that increment, you will work 4 normal rows again, then an increase, 4 normal rows again, one row of an increase, 4 normal rows, 1 row of an increase. By an increase, I mean an increase when starting and ending the row. Okay, and then 4 normal rows once again, then an increase. After that, it will be 2 normal rows. So clearly, you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of an increase, and in between every increase should be 4 normal rows. So let me just work my 4 normal rows and get back to show you how your increase should look like, just so that you master how to work an increment while you have the split for this cardigan. So guys, this is what I have with my 4 normal rows. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to work your second increment of the split. So here you will chain one, turn your work work a single crochet into the very first stitch, and then work your 2 double crochets together to work your bean stitch, chain 1. Once again into this very same stitch, you work a single crochet and 2 double crochets together to work your second bean stitch, all in this very same stitch. So I'm going to let you guys go on with the bean stitch. I'm just going to get back at the end to show you how to work your increase right at the end of your row. So I am close to the end of my row and I have 2 bean stitches. Remember, this is where I have to work my last bean stitch, and there should be a single crochet into the last stitch of the bean stitch. So right here I will work my single crochet and then work my bean stitch. But because I am working an increment when starting and ending the row, I will work the second bean stitch into this very same stitch, just like that. And once I chain 1 into the very last stitch right there, I will work a single crochet. So I have 2 bean stitches into this stitch right here, as you can see. And now to work my next row, there should be 4 normal rows after this. So I'll just chain 1, turn my work a single crochet and then a bean stitch into that very first stitch, and in here I will work my single crochet and then a bean stitch, chain 1, skip 1, and work my bean stitch. So now I know you guys are really well conversant with how to work your increment and how to work your normal rows. So I am going to let you guys work the entire row on your own, and after that you will just follow these guidelines on the next rows that you must work, and I'm going to meet you after your 2 normal rows, after the 5 series of an increase of an increase of an increase. After that I'll meet you at the 2 normal rows, and there I will show you how to work the top of our sleeve, because now I think that will be length enough to go all the way up our shoulders. Okay, so let me meet you guys there and then I'll show you what to do. So I have some noise pitching in from the background. I'm just going to try be louder because I just want to get this video done with. This is how my work looks like right now after working all those rows that I had to work, and you can see, okay, it's really beautiful. I love how it's turning out, and the texture of it all is really beautiful. So yeah, I have 37 bean stitches, and my piece is measuring from top to bottom. My piece is measuring up to 23.5 inches, and then in centimeters it's 60 centimeters. 60, let me see, yeah, it is 60 centimeters. Unfortunately I had my pen pour ink onto my project, but then I'm just going to turn this in out so I just don't lose out on having to repeat the whole entire piece, and I don't even know how I'm going to get that out. So now for the next row we are just going to be working single crochets. So chain 1 and turn your work. Remember, we have been having a single crochet and then 2 double crochets together stitch, then a single crochet. So into this 2 double crochet together stitch, that's why you work your single crochet and find the single crochet stitch right there, work a single crochet, then find the double crochet together stitch, work a single crochet, once again into the single crochet, you work a single crochet into the 2 double crochet together stitch, you work a single crochet and into the single crochet. It will look like you are skipping 1 stitch, but you are clearly not. Okay, it's just that when we were having the 2 double crochets together, we were working a chain over them, okay, to like close up the stitch. So that chain 1 that closed up the 2 double crochet together stitch is not going to act as a stitch. So you will just be working your way into what is closest to you, and after that you just find the single crochet stitch and work your single crochet. And this is what you are going to do. Just make sure you have 2 single crochets for every just make sure you have 2 single crochets for every bean stitch. so that you don't have so many stitches going over. At the end of the day, your work may look like it's gathering together, but that's what we want. That's what we want, because this is going to help this sweater hold up your hold to the sides or the top of your shoulders just so perfectly. I'm going to have to let you guys work this all the way, the top of your sleeve, okay, up to here. That's where I'm going to meet you, and then I'm going to show you what to do next. So I come to the end of my row, and this is how it looks like. So I'm going to be working this band at the top of my work. So here we are going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into the second chain stitch from the hook. We shall work a single crochet, and we are going to continue working 1 single crochet into every stitch. So we are now going to work a slip stitch into this the second stitch in there. Okay, see how we have attached this to this. So we work a slip stitch into the next stitch, then turn our work, work a single crochet into this very first stitch. Now we are working along the band. Make sure they are 5 stitches, so those are 3, 4, and finally 5. Chain 1, turn your work. This is very simple. Work your stitches, they should be 5. Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And once you have 5, you are going to now work a slip stitch into this next stitch. That's now on the body of the sweater. And again, a slip stitch in the next. Now turn your work into this very first stitch right here. You work your first single crochet, and then continue working your single crochets and make sure there are 5 of them. Okay, chain 1. Are you seeing what we are creating? This is what we are creating, and we have to do this all the way. Okay, chain 1, turn your work, work your single crochets, make sure they are 5, and the last one should be right there. So once you have that, still you go into the next stitch there, and here you work a slip stitch, okay, into the next stitch as well. You work a slip stitch, turn your work, work a single crochet in the first stitch, and continue working your single crochets and make sure they are 5. So I believe you guys now have mastered, because I just want this to be all the way around here, because it's going to be at our shoulders. So just work it all the way into every stitch until you get right here at the end of the top of your sleeve. So guys, I have finished working my end of the sweater. That's how it looks like, and this is the whole entire arm. All right, so I finished working the base right here. I'm just going to show you on my second piece how to work this base and make sure it's looking like mine. So let me just show you how to do that. So once you're at the end of your stitches, just like I am, we are now going to work along this, just along the split that we created. So this is what we do. You will just chain 1 and turn your work, work 1 single crochet along this into all these stitches, and now here we shall work a single crochet in here. That's where the single crochet that we were working when starting every row was, and now we shall work a single crochet into this stitch right there, and now get in here at the bottom of this bean stitch into the bean stitch itself right there, then at the bottom of it. Are you seeing what I'm trying to do right there? It's very simple to find where you have to place your stitches. It's really simple. Okay, so you are just going to do this. You see what it's giving us? You are just going to do this all the way until you go around the whole entire split or slit. This should be very easy. So just do this, keep doing this. When you get here, you will just work in one single crochet in the bean stitch right there, and then the other should be in here, and then the other should be in here. Then you will continue with what I have showed you all the way until you get right here. Okay, finish. So you are going to follow the very same steps to work your second piece, and once you have your second piece, get this and place it over just like that. Okay, and that means we are going to attach this, the bottom of this, to this right here. I just don't want to get so much into the sweater, like crisscross it so much, because it will leave us little space to like open up. So you will just work something like this and stitch these two together, like stitching from here up to here. Okay, so yes, here I am, and I have decided to stitch a length or a width of yeah, I'm going to stitch a width of 4 inches together. If you have your darning needle, you can just start over, and if you're working with your hook just like I am, you will just flip your work a little and get into this stitch right there and pull through yarn. Start to work your single crochets, making sure that you're working a single crochet into every stitch on both pieces, and just like that. It's really super easy. So finally, okay, so you are going to do the very same thing for the back of the piece. Crisscross it and mark the very same inches or centimeters that I have crossed this over with. And I'm just going to get back and show you how to work the bottom of our sweater. So I've finished to join my pieces. So here I am going to get my yarn and just find a place on the sides where I can start from, right there. And I'm going to pull through yarn and work a chain. Now from here you're going to work chains that you feel will give you the coverage you are looking for your top. Okay, because now this is more like the underbust, so measure the length you want for your underbust, and those are the chains you are going to work here. I'm not going to be specific about how many chains you are going to work, just work measuring from the bottom of your breasts to where you want your top to like end. Okay, so once you have the number of chains you want to have, you'll work an extra 1 chain, and here you will work a single crochet into the second chain stitch from the hook. So continue working 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way up, and I'm going to meet you there and then show you what to do. Now once you are at the top right here, you will work a slip stitch into the second stitch. Okay, now work a slip stitch into the next stitch. Are you seeing what we have? And here you will turn your work a single crochet. Please make sure you're not working into the slip stitch here. Work a single crochet in there. Okay, and make sure the number of stitches you had on your first row are that same number of stitches you have on this row. Okay, because some of you confuse which stitch to start working your single crochets in when working like this. Or if this really gets hard for you to like work with, you can just work this band separately, and then you get your darning needle and stitch it onto your underbust. Okay, yes, so either way you can just do this, or you can just do exactly what is easier for you. I just want to show you the difference that we are going to have and why it's going to be like that, because I'm not going to work this entire piece on piece with you. It's on the next row that I'm going to let you guys work the entire piece on your own after explaining. So once you get at the top right here, you will chain one, turn your work your single crochets, and I'm going to meet you right here before you work your slip stitch so that I tell you what I needed to tell you. So once here, this is what you are going to do. Still, you see this was the last stitch we worked a slip stitch in, so we are going to skip one and work a slip stitch into the next stitch, and then work another slip stitch in the next, and there we shall turn our work and start working our single crochets along the band that should be for the underbust. Okay, why I am doing that is because I want a fitted underbust, because I'm not going to have any sort of like closure. I want it fitted. And looking at our piece, let me just take this off so you guys can see exactly what I'm trying to say. Looking at my piece and measuring it from right here to right here to right here, it is so wide for my underbust. So if I keep working without skipping a stitch before I work a slip stitch, it's going to give me this very huge band that I do not want to have. I want a band that is a little fitted so that it fits me perfectly when I put on, sorry, the underbust fits me perfectly when I put on the sweater. So either way, if this is really confusing for you guys, you can just work the band separately and work it to the width that you feel like it's going to be fitting and like, you know, body hugging on the underbust, and then just get back here and like stitch it onto your underbust right there. But if that is also going to like give you an ununiform stitching together, you can just do exactly what I have done. Okay, the only difference is here we didn't skip any stitches when working the band, but here we shall be skipping one stitch before we work a slip stitch in the next, then we work a slip stitch in the next stitch, and then start working the next row. I hope I am clear, but clearly that is what I needed to tell you for this sweater, and I feel like we have come to the end of our tutorial. Let me let you guys work your underbust, and then I'll get back and show you how my sweater has turned out and how fitting it's looking. And I hope you all loved this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Let me see you all in my next tutorial. Guys, this is more like, I think this is the second tutorial I have for a sweater. I don't really make this tutorial so much, but I feel like I'm going to start diving into sweaters and diving into dresses and skirts a little more, because I've been making bralettes, bikinis and all that, and I feel like I'm not giving that whole match that I have with me to you guys. So let's watch out for my next tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.